Hi, I want to show you kind of quickly how the debugger works in Python. So here is a file that I created a little earlier, and it uses a chain conditional statement, and I just wrote up at the top an assignment. I'm assigning the value 7 to the variable x. Over here I have my Python shell. What you should notice, if you look up here, I want to direct your attention to the top. When I switch from one window to the other, the menu up there changes. In my file I get a bunch of those things, but if I come over here to my shell, I get this debug option. In the debug thing, I can look at this thing called a debugger, and I just opened it up. A debugger is going to be a really neat thing for us. The debugger shows us exactly what the interpreter is about to do and everything that the interpreter knows. This is our little peek into what the state of our program is. So I have a bunch of checkboxes here, and I've got them all checked. So here's the source code, and I'm about to run it. So I'm going to come to the menu item and run it. And you'll notice instead of running the Python file all the way through, it stops immediately. This highlighted line, this selected line, x equals 7, has not yet executed. Over here in the debug control, it shows me the line that's about to execute. And that line, all of this gobbledygook says I'm in the main module. That's this, the program that I hit run for. I'm in the main module. I'm at line 2. So this is line 2. And I'm looking at the assignment statement that says x equals to 7, or x is assigned the value of 7. This bit here about the main module might be a little confusing. But remember, you can import other modules. And when you import those modules, your debugger will actually step into those modules as well. So in order to keep track of which is the actual program that we ran, Python calls that program that you ran and launched _main. Instead of calling it foo.py, Python thinks it's called _main, which is a module, right? So we're not inside of a function. If we were inside of a function, you'd see the function's name there, and I'll show you that in a bit. And we're at line 2, the assignment statement x equals 7. In order to execute a line of code, just one line of code at a time, we're going to press the over button. So I went over that line and on to the next one, which is line 4, checking the condition of this if statement. That condition is false because x, which shows down here under the list of global variables, x is a 7. So if I step over that, it's going to skip the next line, line 5, and go right to line 6, checking if x equals 4. X is still 7. That's false. Is 7 equal to 5? It's checking if x equals 5 in line 8. I'm going to go over that. And since 7 didn't equal 5, it jumped over. There's nothing to execute on the else. Remember, it has to evaluate this expression. So it had to execute code before. Here for the else, it didn't have to execute anything, so it skipped it, and it's just going to print E. So if I hit over, it prints E, and I can see over here in the script window that E was indeed printed. And if I hit over again, it prints F, and now the module's done. I'm back in the shell. So that's the debugger, which is pretty useful for figuring out exactly what's executing in your Python code. Let's define a function. So let's define a function called f, which takes a parameter a. And in the function f, we'll declare a variable called x and assign it to 3, and then we'll print a times x. So that's just a little function, and let's call f with the value 4. So the output should be, we're calling the function f with the value 4, so it should be 4 getting stored in a local variable named a, and then x getting stored, 3 getting stored in a local variable named x, and we're going to print a times x. A is going to turn out to be 4, x is going to turn out to be 3, 4 times 3 is going to be 12, and it's going to display that to the output. So let's run this in the debugger and see if that's actually what happens. So I hit run, save the module. The first line of code that's going to execute is line 3, which is going to define a new function. Out here, the globals, everything that is in the list of globals begins with a _, which in Python means that that's built in. I as a user didn't create it. That's part of Python. So the global variable name is the name of the module. The global var file is the file that's running. etc. So if I step over that, I have a global variable called f, and f is a function, and it's stored in my computer's memory at address this big long thing. If I step over, it's going to execute the function and print 12. There it was, right here. It just executed the function and print 12. But that's not very good because I might wanted to see each one of these steps inside the function happen. So I'm going to run it again. And this time I'm going to step over the function definition, but here's the function call. I'm going to step into it. So I'm going to hit step. Instead of over, I hit step. And that goes into the function. So I made a function call, and it's jumping in there to show me what happens inside of the function. Notice that there's already a local variable named a. That was a parameter. So remember, all of our parameters become local variables in Python. And now it's about to execute this line, which says x equals 3. It's line 4. We're in the main module, but now we're in this function called f. And we're going to look at the assignment, 3 getting assigned to x, which will be a local variable because we're in a function. So if I step over that, I can continue to step over until there's another function call. So if I step over that, it creates a new variable called x because there was an assignment there, and it stores the value 3 in it. So now we're going to print a times x. When we look up the value in a, that's 4. Look up the value in x, and that's 3. So we expect it to print 12 out here. Let's step over that. It printed 12, and after it printed 12, that was the end of this function and the end of this file, and we were done. So that's how to use a debugger. Those are really helpful things in Python. Signing out.